Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Umi Qalzum. I'm from PBI Class B. So here is the Psycholinguistics task 4. The question 1 is, what do you know of the formulation stage? The formulation stage refers to the process of creating or preparing language output by selecting the appropriate words and sentence structures to form meaningful speech. During this stage, a person draws on their mental resources to choose words that represent the intended meaning, which was established in the earlier conceptualization stage by Garrett 1975. The words selected are relevant and able to convey the semantic and pragmatic aspects of the message. And then the second one is syntactical knowledge, refers to a speaker's ability to organize words into correct grammatical structures. It involves knowing how to combine the lexical, word-related, and grammatical properties of language to express abstract concepts in the way that it can be communicated clearly. And the second one is, what is the relationship between formulation stage and syntactical knowledge? The relationship between the formulation stage and syntactical knowledge is that the formulation relies on this knowledge to effectively transform a speaker's intended meaning into coherent sentences. In other words, syntactical knowledge helps guide the choice of word and the arrangement so that the speaker can clearly express their thoughts during the communication. And the question 3 is, what are the difference among lemma, lexeme, word vocabulary, as well as entry? Okay, the lemma is the abstract idea or concept in our mind that connects the meaning with the intended message. And the lexeme is the form that the lemma takes when transformed into an actual word. A word is the finalized form we use in communication, which could vary depending on grammatical needs. Vocabulary is the collection of lexemes or words we draw from when speaking or writing. And the question 4 is, what do you know about grammatical encoding in the formulation stage? Once we have identified the right lexemes, the mind starts combining them into coherent sentences using our implicit knowledge of grammar. This implicit grammatical knowledge refers to our subconscious understanding of how to structure sentences, drawn from our experience and personal context by Ellis 2008. This knowledge helps us arrange lexemes into sentences that represent concepts or facts in our minds. The process of creating grammatically correct sentence is known as grammatical encoding by Kaharuddin 2021. And then what do you know of articulation stage and phonological knowledge? So articulation stage is the final step in language production, where we turn our mental concept into speech. This stage focuses on producing clear and effective speech sounds that others can easily understand. To do this, we rely on phonological knowledge. So, phonological knowledge refers to our understanding of the sounds and patterns in our language. It helps us pronounce words correctly and combine sounds in a way that follows the rules of our language. According to Chomsky 2014, this process involves transforming abstract ideas into speech. And then the sixth question is, what is the relationship between articulation stage and phonological knowledge? So phonological knowledge plays a crucial role in the articulation stage. It allows us to select the appropriate sounds, phonemes, and rules to produce accurate speech. Without it, we wouldn't be able to articulate words correctly or form understandable sentences. And what is the phonological rule and what are its characteristics? Phonological rules guide how we produce and organize sounds in speech. They help ensure that our speech follows the patterns of a specific language. These rules dictate how sounds are structured and combined to form syllables. words, and sentences, enabling us to convey abstract ideas clearly through articulation. Phonological rules are intuitive, are often applied instinctively by native speakers. For example, without formal training, a speaker can intuitively tell whether the word or sound in their language is well formed or acceptable. And then phonological rules are unthought or unconscious. These rules naturally through everyday communication rather than explicit instruction. They become internalized as we grow up interacting with others in our linguistic environment. And then phonological rules are language specificity. Phonological rules vary from language to language. A sound patterns that is acceptable in one language may not be valid in another. And then phonological rules are language productivity, meaning they apply to both familiar and new words. In a sense, phonological rules ensure that speakers can consistently and accurately apply the correct sounds patterns in their language, which is crucial for clear articulation during speech. And the eighth question is, what do you know about phonological encoding? Explain your answer. Phonological encoding refers to the process where the brain assigns the appropriate sounds phonemes to words during speech productions. Once we have selected the words lexemes that represent our ideas, phonological encoding help us figure out this word should be sound based on the rules of our language. In short, phonological is about converting abstract ideas into the spoken words by applying the correct sounds according to the rules of language. And then the last question is, as a whole, can you explain the process of language productions? So the process of language production involves several stages that transform abstract ideas into spoken words. The first one is conceptualization. Conceptualization, this is the first step where we generate an idea or concept we want to express, and then formulation stage. After conceptualization, we move to the formulation stage. Grammatical encoding. Once the words are selected, grammatical encoding helps assign the proper grammatical roles to each word, subject, object, verb, or whatever, ensuring the sentence is coherent. And then phonological encoding. After the grammatical structures is set, phonological encoding converts the selected words into their corresponding sounds. And then articulation. Finally, in the articulation stage, the prepared sounds are physically produced through speech. This whole process allows us to communicate our thoughts effectively from abstract ideas to spoken words. Thank you. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.